has it become too hard and too expensive to make clothes in New Zealand? It's a question that's been widely debated this month after the fashion label World was caught selling clothes made overseas as New Zealand made. Since then, we've heard from lots of fashion houses who say yes, it's comparatively too expensive to manufacture here. For the women's shoe label Minnie Cooper, it's so expensive it's had to close. Workers have been made redundant, everything's for sale, and the owner Sandy Cooper believes fast fashion is to blame. She spoke to Zach Fleming this morning.
Mark cutting away down the end there.
Yeah.
We had Celia and Sandra sewing.
Minnie Cooper was close-knit.
We had Peter making soles out the back, and then he would skip around and be the toe laster as well.
But after 29 years making shoes in Auckland, it's become unstitched.
For probably 20 years, this was a really good business. I think it's online shopping that's definitely put the nail in the coffin. I certainly think the government not charging GST on goods coming in was disastrous.
For founder Sandy Cooper, those two things means she can't make money making shoes in New Zealand anymore.
If I could have made 20 grand a year, I'd have stuck at it. But I couldn't lose 20 grand a year. And to anyone who's grown up seeing boots at $1.99, suddenly people start to feel almost affronted at the real price that a pair of boots cost to make.
Which at Minnie Cooper was almost double that.
They were $3.59. Yeah, $3.59.
And what did they cost to make?
Well, because I lost money last year, they probably cost $3.79.
Minnie Cooper used to have stores in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. The Auckland store was prime real estate on Ponsonby Road. Sandy's the human face of the conversation that's been bubbling since Made in New Zealand brand World was caught earlier this month selling t-shirts and jumpers that were made in Bangladesh and India. The question's how can New Zealand-made fashion labels survive alongside fast fashion? ASOS, H&M, Zara.
You can't say I won't pay $90 for a t-shirt and think it's an outrage. Actually, what's an outrage is $19 is an outrage. But because we've had our benchmark set by third world prices for so long now, the real price has become an outrage.
We've been conditioned, Sandy says, to expect to pay pennies for what we wear. And that conditioning has put her out of business.
Once I was at a party and someone said, "Oh, so you can see what you do?" And it's like, yeah, we can. And you know, often you pick up a shoe and go, "Hey, look, how good it looks," because it does. It did, yeah.
You're going to really miss that?
Oh, definitely. Uh-oh. I don't know that I'm going to manage to get this out without crying. It's actually the people that I miss. We go back a long way. 25 years, 25 years, 20 years.
I met Sandy this morning in what used to be Minnie Cooper's workshop in Avondale. It's a pretty bland space. Concrete floor, it felt shed-like inside. But as you just heard, she says it was the people that made the place. I asked her to paint me a picture, and she beamed, saying there's nothing like hearing a factory hum.
Yeah, and those little pincers come down, grab the edge of that and wipe it across.
Yeah. She could make a pair of her shoes from start to finish.
That's a perforating machine. It's good for punching holes for brogues. I want a home for that machine. That's a beautiful machine, yeah. But I haven't found a home yet. It's got nowhere to go.
It's got nowhere to go because Sandy can't find anyone in New Zealand who wants to buy it. Hardly anyone's making shoes here anymore. She sold one machine, which she tells me was worth $200,000 when she bought it 20 years ago, for just $100 to a man in Hamilton who wants to make marching boots. After Sandy empties the workshop, a laundromat will take her place, manufacturer to service provider.
It's not only just this business. Well, the manufacturing has massive ripple effects, you know, the dye makers, the shoebox makers, the graphic designers, on and on it goes.
Minnie Cooper is dead, but its slipper arm, 5-Star Slippers, is living on. Except Sandy's dye maker and shoebox maker will now be Chinese. She's moving production to China, to a factory she's personally visited so is confident it's ethical, and will only open her retail shop on Saturdays. It'll be mostly online. She matter-of-factly accepts that's what she has to do to make money, but wishes it wasn't.
And I can't tell you how often I hear people say I wouldn't pay X for a product, when actually that's the fair price. That is the fair environmental and people price.
Sandy firmly believes consumers hold all the power. And here's how you exercise that power, from a woman who's spent more time making shoes in New Zealand than almost anyone else.
Have less. Buy less. Yeah, less is not a four-letter word. Yeah. That's what people have to start thinking, that it's not a bad thing just to have a couple of pairs of shoes.
For Checkpoint, Zach Fleming.